Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of DLC. My name is Joey Fitz and today we are taking a dive into one of the happier games I've played this year. One of the games where it's all sunshine and rainbows. One of the games where you can play this with your kids around watching the TV. Have you ever considered when you wake up on a Sunday morning and you breathe a big sigh of relief as you know you have no plans for that day? It's that kind of feeling of weightlessness, free of care, free of responsibility, that I can guarantee you are absolutely not going to get from the game I'm playing today. Today I'm talking about a game that's been on my radar for a little while, Into the Dead: Our Darkest Days. Before I go any further, I'd like to give a huge thank you to Game.Press and Pickpock for providing a free review copy. We really appreciate the chance to keep working with you. Now, let's strap in. We're heading to the apocalypse, 80s style. So Into the Dead: Our Darkest Days is not your typical zombie game. It's not a shooter. It's not endless running, mowing down the undead and racking up kills. This is different. Set in the 1980s, the game leans really hard into the retro aesthetic, not just visually, but from the VHS-inspired grain and soundtrack. It feels like it could be made up of home movies and the stories that come with it, and it's got loads of atmosphere to boot. Now, unlike most zombie games, you're not the hero with a shotgun. I wouldn't even say that you're the hero. This one is just about survival. You manage a small group of survivors as society has crumbled around you. You're scavenging, you're making tough calls, and you're trying to keep everyone alive. This is harder than it sounds. The game opens up with quite a funny cinematic. It's a radio broadcast from the governor of the area that you're in. I believe it was Texas. And he's reassuring you that this will all be over soon. Don't worry, the zombie infestation will be under control sooner rather than later. And then he says, you may have heard that I've left the area. This is true. However, you shouldn't worry about it. He's just moved out to the city limits to stay with the army so that he can help the boys in blue. That's right, the boys in blue. And it was a strange introduction to what was absolutely not a comedy game. I have to admit, it made me laugh out loud while I did it. But that sense of comedy ended very, very quickly when the gameplay started. Now, gameplay-wise, this is where this game really shines. It takes a mix of real-time exploration with base management and decision-making that actually matters. You'll move through a 2D side-scrolling environment, looting and sneaking past hordes, and occasionally fighting them. If you're smart, only when you don't have a choice. If you're like me, at every given moment. Every decision you make has weight, and if you rush into a building without checking it first, you might lose a survivor. If you stay too long scavenging for that last can of food, night can fall and the undead get hungrier. There's a real tension with every move that you make. And I love how the game balanced action and strategy. It's not a non-stop adrenaline rush. It's slow and deliberate and incredibly stressful in a really good way. Think This War of Mine. When I played this game on Twitch with our good friend Griffin from Major Tunage and Reboot Deboot, he made the comparison of This War Is Mine and it really clicked to me. However, I feel this game is much more accessible than This War of Mine. Into the Dead: Our Darkest Days keeps the emotional depth and the moral weight, but it never feels like you're punished just for playing. It gives you enough breathing room to actually learn from your mistakes. So let's talk about the tone of this game, because it does dark and moody like few others do. There's not a lot of happiness here. The streets are filled with decay. The survivors are broken people trying to hold onto a world that's already gone, and the writing doesn't sugarcoat it. Every encounter, every decision carries a sense of dread. And yet there's this strange beauty to it all. The 80s setting has this nostalgic melancholy. You're surrounded by old CRT monitors, neon lights and flickering over blood-stained walls, and the soundtrack humming beneath it all. You feel the weight of the world collapsing around you, but you can't stop playing. It's haunting, it's oppressive, and because of that, it's absolutely gripping. One of the things I really enjoyed about this game was that you don't have one base. If you stay in somewhere long enough, more and more zombies will attack your base every single day, meaning you need to spend more and more resources, more and more time, and more survivor effort from your team to keep it protected. Instead, every week or so, it's beneficial for you to change your base and to use one of the buildings that you've completely cleared of zombies as your hideout for the next couple of weeks. What this allows you to do is to go to different areas of the map. So you're allowed a radius around your base of places to explore, and by moving your base, that opens up more and more areas for you to explore with different loot, different zombies, different challenges, and maybe even other survivors to help join your crew and improve your defenses. Now, I mentioned this War of Mine earlier, and it's the closest comparison I can think of. Both games make you care deeply about the survival, about the human side of disaster. But here's the thing, and I said it before, Into the Dead Our Darkest Days is far more approachable. The UI is fairly sparse, and the pacing is much better tuned. The learning curve is more forgiving without watering down the experience. You still make painful choices, but you're not constantly fighting the interface or the difficulty curve. It respects your time and attention. So if you've ever bounced off this War of Mine because it was a bit too bleak or complicated, this might be a good alternative. It's still quite bleak, but it's definitely not as complicated. One of the things that really stuck with me in the game was how real the tension felt. When someone got bitten out of your team, it's not just another game mechanic. It felt like a loss. Your characters and the team got gradually more and more ill over time, and you had to spend loads of time and loads of resource if you wanted to make them feel better. I got to the point with one of my characters where he got bitten, and he just wasn't getting better no matter what I did. So I went to find one of the places that you could make a base, and I just ran in there all guns blazing, trying to kill and clear out as many zombies as I could for the benefit of the rest of the people in my crew. It felt like a loss, and you really care about the characters. So you start to plan around their strengths and their flaws, and each character has a set of strengths that will help them. So for example, one of the characters can use half the amount of resources and half the amount of time to barricade up and protect your base. But with each strength comes a trait, and the traits are usually negative. So whilst I was out scavenging for resources with one of my characters, I came across a survivor. This was the first survivor I'd come across. I didn't actually know they were in the game. So my character, having snuck around all of the zombies that they could, actually killed this survivor. And this gave them a permanent debuff of guilt, which meant it was really hard to get their morale higher so that they could be completely effective in the base. Because of that, because of these decisions, everything felt personal. You might sacrifice a survivor to save the group like I did, or leave someone behind because they just can't risk another fight, and these choices linger. I think I played 4 hours of the game, but I feel like replayability would be really strong too. When you start out, you get a choice of 2 survivors, but you can add to this survivor group as you go. Different survivors, different random events, different ways to manage your group means that I think each run will feel completely unique. So, here's the verdict. Into the Dead Our Darkest Days is dark, moody, beautifully crafted survival experience. Perfectly captures the despair and the tension of the world falling apart around you. There's nothing you can do about it. It's grim, it's bleak, it's stressful, but it's also addictive, and it really works. The 80s aesthetic is more than a gimmick, it feels like it's part of the game's soul. The soundtrack, the visuals, it all comes together to create something that feels unique and very atmospheric. If you're looking for a light-hearted romp, this really isn't it. But if you want to play a game where the world grips you and challenges you and makes you feel every decision, I'd highly recommend Into the Dead: Our Darkest Days. So once again, a huge thank you to our friends over at Game.Press and Pickpock for the review copy. I think you created something really special here and something I will definitely go back to. It's one of those games that remind me why I like indie titles so much. It's creative, uncompromising, and full of heart, even in the really, really dark moments. So that's it. That was the review of Into the Dead: Our Darkest Days. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on our YouTube. Don't forget to follow us on our X at Game Club Pod and join our Discord and get involved with the discourse around these episodes. And if you have seen this game and thought about playing it or have played it yourself, let me know your thoughts. Until next time, I've been Joey Fitz, this has been DLC, and have a great day.